Michael going into this weekend?
Wes actually practiced today, and I thought moved around really well. So we'll wait and see how he is tomorrow. We'd obviously love to get him back out there, and I think there's a very good chance we're going to get him back out there. Michael is running around pretty good. It's either going to be this weekend or next weekend. I'm just not sure yet. But I think he's really close also.
With those kind of injuries, how much does the weather and the temperatures kind of play into it?
I don't think there's any injury where cold weather helps. That's just, Starkville, Mississippi is not the only place in America right now that's the only cold weather. So it's just something we have to deal with and make the best of it. Again, I've said this many times, but every time the guy that you put out there originally can't go back out there, it really gives another opportunity to somebody else. So I really feel like we've learned so much more about our club because Wes and Michael and Gavin have not been able to go out there. So I think that's a real strength of this group. But obviously we'd love to have those guys back on the field.
Seems to be a step up in competition this week with Arizona and Samford. Are you really excited to see where your guys are with these two clubs coming in?
Yeah, I think this is a really good two really good clubs. But I will say this, and right after the minute Alabama A&M left us and went to UAB, who's undefeated, they go soundly defeat UAB on their home field. They're a good club, and they're going to beat people that they're supposedly not supposed to beat. So all Cincinnati had is the best Division I hitter in America, who's projected to be a top 15 pick overall. I don't necessarily think we have played against competition that's subpar in any way, but when you talk about in Arizona, they are another level. They've won a national championship, and I guess 4 years ago, and Andy Lopez, a good friend, and runs a great program there. Very good coach. So, I think in some respects our kids are excited about that. But in baseball, the minute you think somebody's not good just because of name recognition, they will bite you because it only takes a couple of really good players and some good coaches to create a nice program.
You still happy with Britton and Reynolds at third, or is there a chance that we may see somebody else at third this week?
Yeah, Sproul's in the mix there too. As soon as Wes comes back, we're going to have to make some decisions because obviously Gridley's playing well enough to deserve at-bats and playing time. We've discussed a lot of options as to who we move around, but we're going to make the best decision for our ball club, and I wouldn't be shocked if some guys on the right side of the infield might end up being moved to the left side of the infield possibly. So we'll wait and see how that unfolds.
Looking at the matchups now, presumably I guess Preston will stay with the Friday slot. What are you thinking about Saturday?
One of the great things about playing these 14 tournaments is we get to watch both teams play. And then we get to make a decision on, who will face them. Arizona's a little bit more left-handed than Samford, so if we feel like a left-hander in game 2 on Saturday is more effective against Arizona, we'd probably go with Lucas. If we feel like a right-hander with a changeup is a better matchup, we'd probably go with Sexton. But we're going to wait a little while just to see exactly. That's the great benefit of playing those two games or watching the first game on Friday.
It's a benefit now, but how much does that help later in the season in the maze when you don't know who's going to pitch the next game? You can go to a guy that morning and say, hey, you weren't pitching necessarily, but now you're going to go. So they're used to that situation.
Yeah, but especially when you consider Lucas knows he's going to pitch. It's just game 1 or game 2.
Right.
Austin knows he's going to pitch. He's a game 1 or game 2. I think game 4 is really dependent upon, do you use Vance? Do you have to use Vance in one of those games? If you don't, then you have an opportunity to start him. We thought he pitched very well. We thought all of our starters pitched pretty well last weekend. So we need those kind of performances again because, again, we're playing really, really good ball club this weekend.
Talk about Vance. Do you like him more as a starter? Do you want to pull him out of the bullpen? What do you want to do with him?
I think he has the mentality that allows you to bring him out of the bullpen. He wants the baseball when it matters the most. But also, I think he can be a starter. His whole thing is when he can pitch inside, throw to his glove side, into right-handers, there's no question he's going to be effective. When all of a sudden he gets in a little bit of a hurry and gets a little impatient, runs away from his delivery. Those are the times that we get a little concerned with him. So what you're looking at is a sprinter versus a long distance guy. Usually the sprinter can focus in for those 20, 30 pitches you need, and they'll hang in there with their delivery. When they're staring down the barrel at 70, 80, 90 pitches, all of a sudden sometimes you can lose your delivery a little bit. But I think Vance can do both. And we'd love to have to make some really good decisions, some tough decisions when we get into conference play with him. But also, I want to mention Miles Gentry. I think it's really close to pitching for us, threw the ball really, really well. And watching Paul Young throw his bullpens right now is really, really positive. He's got a great arm. And at his best, he might have our best right-handed breaking ball. So what we keep saying is probably what everybody else in the country is saying, and that is if we can just get all of our pieces healthy, if we can get Gavin Collins back out there, if we can get West back out there, if you can get Michael Smith back out there, along with those arms healthy, you feel like you're really, you're getting a different dimension of our club.
Is Gavin still on track?
Yeah, actually, Gavin caught a bullpen this morning. In his hand, it's the hand that he had the handmade surgery on. So he caught about 15, 20 pitches in a bullpen, said it did not bother him. Of course, swinging the bat's a whole different matter. But we feel like our target date's getting ready for conference play. He wants to be out there quicker than that. We'll see how much he progresses.
In terms of preparation, I know you have the Palmetto Center and you're thankful for that, but what's the schedule been like during this time of bad weather?
It's been tough. You're right. Having the facility, having the Palmetto Center is just a huge advantage for us. And, a ton of our kids yesterday on a snow day, it was our off day, Wednesday's our off day, but a ton of our kids came in and hit on their own and worked really hard on their own. And that's fun to see. And I know that just by walking by all the cars in the parking lot. So I think our kids have had a nice work week, and so sometimes being inside allows you to focus in on small things. You're not worried about how far a ball's coming off a bat. You're not worried about wind direction and things of that nature. So I think our kids, I think we've had a pretty good work week when you consider everything.
When Michael comes back with the outfield depth that you have, is there any chance that Reed might come back into the infield at third base, or?
Reed is probably more of a possibility at first base.
Okay.
If West doesn't progress the way we think he will. So that's a possibility, but I think he's just worked so hard to become a good outfielder that's probably where his home's going to be. And he's made 3 or 4 really, really good plays out there.